Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this morning for the Low Carbon Business Action Business Development webinar presented to you by Decentralized Energy Canada and Delphi. My name is Crystal Thompson-Dick, and I am here representing Decentralized Energy Canada. I would like to start off this morning with a land acknowledgement. In the spirit of respect, reciprocity, and truth, we honor and acknowledge that the offices of Decentralized Energy Canada are located within the traditional Treaty 7 territory and oral practices of the Blackfoot Confederacy, Siksika, Kainai, Piikani, Stoney Nakoda Nations, Chiniki, Bearspaw, Goodstoney, and Tsuut'ina Nation. We acknowledge that this territory is home of the Métis Nation within Alberta Districts 5 and 6. Finally, we acknowledge all nations, Indigenous and non, who live, work, and play on this land and who honor and celebrate this territory. So thank you so much for joining us this morning. Just a brief introduction about Decentralized Energy Canada before I hand things off to Natalie and Carol Ann. Decentralized Energy Canada is a national not-for-profit industry association focused on advancing safe, affordable, and reliable decentralized energy solutions. We've built Canada's largest and most diverse network of stakeholders across the sector. Our main service is supporting community energy project developers by facilitating connections with potential partners and offering independent technical, economic, and environmental assessments. We enhance the competitive edge of our members by promoting the commercialization of decentralized energy technologies, addressing key policy issues, and attracting investment and new participants to the critical industry that is ever evolving, especially now. So without further ado, Carol Ann, please take it away.
So Delphi is the Canadian strategic consulting firm. We've been around for over 35 years, which is much longer than sustainability has been popular. We like to walk the talk. So we're a certified B Corporation. Our core services is really advisory. So we're not in the field doing things with facilities or with biodiversity. We're desk-based, providing expertise to our clients across the economy in terms of the technical side of climate change to the strategic side, as well as innovation and clean tech, which this project is part of. And we like to say the icing on the cake in terms of how we operate is Delphi is part of a collective in terms of organization advancing sustainability. So Globe, you might have been to a Globe event, either Forum in Vancouver or Exchange in Toronto, or some of its client events like Inventures in Alberta. And we have two not-for-profit organizations that in their own way are also advancing sustainability. Thank you, Natalie. That's who we are in a nutshell. So we're gonna quickly introduce Delphi, as I just did, and ourselves. We're gonna tell you about the program, and then we really want to give you the opportunity to ask questions. And because we're a small group, we can do that in a couple of ways. We can do the Q&A. You can put up your hand and ask a question. We want this to be more interactive. I never like to be just talking head on a screen. I want to talk with you so that we can see if there are opportunities to work together. We'll also be using Slido. So that's to warm you up. So be ready for it. Thank you, Natalie. If you can go to the next slide. A little bit about us. I'm Carol Ann. I've been in this business for about 15 years. I have a background in innovation clean tech. I led our Delphi group for a few years, and now I get the fun of doing project work as an executive advisor and supporting all of our companies. Natalie is the project manager for the LCBA project. She's a consultant with us. She has a background in sustainability and has worked overseas on a tech platform for sustainability as well and in different sectors. All right, enough about us. More importantly, about the getting you warmed up. So if you've used Slido before, you use the QR code. If not, please open up your phone and go to your camera. And it will open up a page on your phone if you scan the QR code and answer this question. Have you done business with an EU company before? This will give us a good sense of, some of the hoops or some of the challenges of doing so. All right. Let's see who remembers how to use Slido. If you're having trouble with using it, please let us know. No. Yep. No Slido use. I mean, no EU interaction. Okay, fair enough. A little bit. Oh, half and half. All right. So it can be a mix of experience. And we can talk about that as well in terms of how this project helps with some of the extra steps that happen when you work with an EU company. Thank you so much for that. That gives us a good sense of experience. All right, Natalie, let's jump into what the program's all about.
Thanks, Carol Ann. Yeah, so great to see everyone here today. And yeah, we're really looking forward to explaining more about this program and hearing about your comments and thoughts and questions as well about it. So as Carol Ann said, I'm a consultant at Delphi and I'm leading this program in consultation with Carol Ann. And what I'll be spending the next 10 minutes or so doing is just walking you through this program. So what it is, how it works, and when it's running, and what the benefits are to participating for you. So let's start with the basics. What exactly is LCBA Canada or Low Carbon Business Action Canada? We use the acronym since it's a lot of words. So the Low Carbon Business Action Canada program is funded by the European Commission, and it has a clear goal to connect Canadian organizations with clean tech challenges domestically with innovative European technology solutions. It's a solution-focused, business-driven program designed to accelerate actual business transactions, pilots, deployments, and partnerships between Canada and the EU. So LCBA acts as a matchmaker, and Delphi is excited because we also collaborate through this program with a bunch of different international expert partners that are shown at the bottom of the screen to deliver these opportunities through the program. And what is in it for you? You can see on the right as a Canadian participant. So there's some key benefits. The first is you'll get access to vetted cutting edge EU clean technology to help you meet your sustainability and resilience goals. You receive free tech scouting and matchmaking support to identify and connect with the right innovators. You receive tailored deployment support. So this is key to, actualizing the technology use. So that includes feasibility assessments, pilot setup, regulatory advice, and funding pathway advice as well. And the last benefit, though not the only one in terms of the list, is it's entirely free to participate as a Canadian organization. So this is funded by the EU, and the EU is investing to create those lasting partnerships between Canadian and European entities. So the program is open and actively seeking new Canadian participants, which is why we wanted to talk to you today and share about this to see, assess your level of interest. So on the next slide, I'll just walk you through the eligibility requirements and the timeline to get involved. So who can participate? The answer is almost any Canadian organization, as long as you have a clear clean technology need. So that includes private companies, whether it be a startup or a large enterprise. Public sector agencies have participated and continue to participate in it, like municipalities, utilities, and even research institutions or infrastructure owners. There's a few basic requirements. That being said, your organization must be based in Canada. You must have a specific clean tech need, as I said, that can be defined, whether that's technical, operational, or sustainability related. And you should be able to provide high-level progress updates on how the partnership is progressing. And lastly, you should be open to testing or eventually adopting a technology as a result of your participation. In terms of commitment, while the participation on your part is completely free, we do ask for a small time investment naturally. So that's typically 1 to 3 days of your team's time over a 3-month period to engage with Delphi, to identify what your clean tech challenges are, and to engage with those potential EU innovators. So we're currently in phase 2 of the program, which runs until October of 2027. The current buyer intake window is open through April 2026. So while there is time to participate, it's a great opportunity to get involved early and get a sense of what the EU market is like in terms of EU innovators for your needs. So on the next, on this slide, you'll also see the step-by-step process to engaging in the program. So as I said, it typically unfolds over about 3 months. So the steps are that first, we begin with a consultation call with your organization, we meaning Delphi, so that'll be Carolyn and myself, to understand your needs. Then we help you shape those needs into a clear, well-articulated challenge statement that's 1 to 2 pages on average, not very long. And then next, what we do is we work closely with our EU tech scouting partner called cleantech Group to shortlist EU cleantech suppliers that will be suitable to help you overcome the challenges you've articulated with us. And then we organize one-on-one pitch meetings with those suppliers so you can further discuss alignment there. And then lastly, if there's interest, you can sign a non-binding letter of intent, or LOI, which is just a simple signal that you're hoping to move forward to discuss a potential partnership. So it's all designed to be lightweight, practical, and fast, with hands-on support provided from Delphi and our partners that I pointed out in one of the previous slides, every step of the way, so that it's as easy and seamless as possible for you. And the goal is to get you matched with the right solution for your specific needs faster and with less friction than you would have normally if you were to do this on your own. So on the next slide, I'll give you a few examples of successes in terms of matches we've made so far in the program to give you a sense of what this could look like. So we have already successfully completed phase 1 of LCBA Canada. It ran from 2020 to 2024, and we're currently in phase 2, as I said, which has just kicked off. But results from phase 1 were pretty promising. So we saw over 60 innovation challenges created by Canadian organizations. More than 150 EU innovators were connected with those buyers. And we also signed 50 letters of intent between Canadian organizations and EU tech companies. All in all, with these numbers considered, there were over 400 Canadian organizations that participated in the program, and we had cross-sectoral participation from the buyers. So just to give you a few examples here of what that looked like on the ground, you can see 3 examples. So the first one is with the City of Vancouver. So the City of Vancouver signed a letter of intent with Virtuo, who's based in France, as well as Daku, a supplier based in Italy, for solutions related to urban water reuse and green rooftop management, respectively. Savgen Consulting is an Indigenous-owned firm, and they were connected with Finrenis, based in Finland, and Vblue, based in Denmark, for biogas production and battery storage, respectively. So as you can see, both of these buyers had 2 separate challenges, and they were matched with 2 separate suppliers to help them, which is quite often the case. And then third, NGIF partnered with Meti, based in Belgium, to explore ultra-efficient gas heat pumps. So these are just a few highlights, but they show the range of needs and solutions, and some of these are, of course, relevant to DEC members in terms of your potential needs that could be relevant for your participation in LCBA. If you're curious to see more examples of past challenges and solutions matched, we'll share a link with you with Crystal, so you can take a look after the webinar too. So wanted to kind of look a bit forward as well with LCBA, just to show you what's possible for organizations like those within DEC's network. We just showed you what LCBA Canada has accomplished already in phase 1, but this slide shows potential high potential matches between Canadian clean tech needs and proven EU solutions relevant to decentralized energy. So to give you context, it's based on a recent market assessment that Delphi conducted, where we analyzed the priorities of Canadian organizations across different areas of electricity, real estate, as well as several other sectors, and mapped those needs against the strengths of EU innovators. So you'll see in this slide, as well as the next slide, some key areas relevant to DEC's focus areas here, where there is that strong match. So to preface it, it's not an exhaustive list. So if a priority area of yours is not mentioned here, don't assume it's not a fit. Each match is built case by case. So that depends on your technical and operational needs. And these are simply examples as a starting point to show what's possible. So I'll quickly just go through them, and then we'll go to the Slido poll and then the Q&A. But first, one of the matches that we saw was smart grid systems. So that can be optimizing generation, storage, and consumption across community scale or distributed assets. Many EU innovators specialize in this kind of advanced intelligence, and this is things like demand management systems, AI and sensor deployment, and system resiliency. Energy storage is another area of strong alignment, so things like modular battery systems, thermal flow storage. Variable renewables integration like wind and solar, of course, very appealing to Canadian entities because of the harsh climates. And there's several EU technologies that help with facilitating that in terms of the cold climates. Another area of match of a high alignment was off-diesel power solutions tailored to Indigenous and remote communities. So that's things like hybrid renewable systems, microgrids, low maintenance storage and control platforms. And then finally, district energy was another area that has high potential for matches with EU innovators. So deep expertise in the EU in low carbon district heating and cooling, such as through district hot water systems. And then beyond energy generation and storage, LCBA also supports technologies that enhance various aspects of resilience, circularity, and building performance, which we thought may be relevant to DEC members. So one example is climate adapted grid infrastructure. So these are tools and materials to help make energy systems more resilient to extreme weather and climate risks. We also see potential with decentralized and distributed generation, such as small scale solar, micro hydro, renewable natural gas. On the circular economy side, plastic construction waste reuse and recycling is an emerging area of innovation. So EU startups are developing various processes for contaminated construction plastics, as an example, which is a growing challenge in Canada as well. And then finally, don't want to talk too much about all the different cases, but we do support energy efficiency and retrofit matches as well. Of course, a very important area in Canada. So that can be building automation and controls to insulation to performance tracking. So many areas here of overlap. So in short, there's many different ways in which you could get involved with challenges. And again, this is just a snapshot. So if you're wanting to understand a bit better if your specific challenge is relevant, then feel free to contact Carol-Ann and me, and we can discuss with you. So with that, I will hand it over to Carol-Ann for, I think, a last Slido poll and then some Q&A.
Thanks so much, Nally, and keep in mind that the work that's been done to show some alignment is a flavor of things, and they're always customized searches for component parts, for different sized parts, for whole new solutions, for the enabling technology. So what we've given you as a snapshot are examples, but they're not the only things that are available. Oops. So, all right, I love that someone's jumped on this. So question is, has your organization adopted any clean technologies before? No, but we're exploring options. Great. Let us know if we can help you. Anyone in a position where they have or they're not working on it right now? No, we're okay, actively using clean tech solutions. So you would know that sometimes things are straightforward and sometimes they're not. And one of the things that we haven't explained in a lot of detail is the technical assistance that the project provides for organizations that participate. And so we can talk a bit more about that if you're interested in some of the help that you can get along the way. Great. If you're exploring options for clean tech, then we're happy to talk as well. So let's go to the next slide. So we really wanted to give you a sense of the project and open it up to any questions you have. And what we're going to suggest is you can, if you want, you can put your questions in the chat, and we'll field them and answer them. Or because we're a small group, if you feel comfortable, you can put your hand up, come off screen, and ask the question, and we can have a conversation, because there's not too many of us here today. So while you're thinking of some questions, I also wanted to touch on, if you were looking at the kind of potentially relevant solution categories that Natalie shared, and you might be thinking, wait a minute, those are the things that we do, because we develop and we implement and we're interested in and we support decentralized energy solutions in Canada and abroad. Yes, and what we've found in the first phase and what we're finding now is there are opportunities for Canadian innovators to find component parts, different sizing from solution sets in Europe. So this is not about replacing what you provide, it's about helping you with things that you might be looking for to enhance what you provide as solutions. So I have a question. Thank you so much, Patrick. Can a Canadian supplier participate to match with Euro industry reps to build relationships in the EU? So the EU is supporting this program financially to bring their small and medium enterprises to opportunities in Canada. So it's not a two-way street, unfortunately. And we've had lots of government agencies in Canada go, how do we make this a good two-way street? So I'm on a mission to realize that reverse reciprocated opportunity, Patrick. However, what we've seen is when organizations in Canada go, yeah, but I need this kind of thing, and we find some options in Canada, those relationships start building sort of longer term opportunities for Canadian entities. So for now, it's not officially a two-way street. We're working on it, but if there's something that you're looking for, it will start cementing some of those opportunities and relationships for sure. Anouk, do you want to come off and talk, because your hand's up and you put it in the chat as well? Okay. Walk you through how to, I can't unmute. All right, I'm sorry that I was wrong. We can't get you to unmute. All right, so put your questions in the chat and I'll speak to them. Thanks so much, Anouk. It's a great question. This program is the opposite of throwing you to the wolves, if I can put it that way. It's about supporting the Canadian buyer in accessing possible solutions in a variety of ways. So we are your partner in defining, hey, well, I've got this problem. I can't figure out how to, get this kind of piece of my solution or this kind of technology. Can you help me? So we help you with defining what you're looking for to begin with. And then we work with our partners, cleantech Group, and others in Europe to start finding potential supply. And so we do a round of, hey, so based on that first conversation, like, let's look at what's possible out there, and we define it in a full statement. And you know that Decentralized Energy Canada has done innovation challenges, so that's what we're there you go. Thank you so much, Natalie. That's what we do for you, is help you define that in a way that maximizes the outreach and attraction of potential solutions. So you'll know as well that those statements are not about always a specific piece of kit, right? We're not describing, I need a widget that's 2 inches long and it's blue and it turns on every 37 seconds. It's about what's the outcome you're looking for. I need something that performs this way, that's going to reduce this much, that's going to enhance this much. And then once we find some options, we meet with you with those suppliers to walk through, is there a fit? You can ask some questions. They ask and answer questions, they ask you questions, and it's exploring if there's a way those solutions can fit what you need. If there is, and then we move to what we would recommend would be the non-confidential stage of a bit more information sharing through a letter of interest. And that's not just like, okay, I agree that I won't share your information, kind of an MNDA process. It's an important step to get more support from the EU. So what happens is that the EU has allocated time and resources. So not, I'm going to hand over a bunch of money to you, but they've allocated people who can support the two parties in the EU and Canada to deal with whatever steps they need to get to see if they can work together. So I'll give you an example from the first phase. TransLink has a number of substations where there's a lot of heat released from their transit vehicles and their operations. And those substations were built a few decades ago when it was rainier and less sunny. And so they are struggling with the heat load within those buildings. And the first go around, they're saying, is there anything that can be done about this? And we found a Czech company called FNano who said, well, we have paint that can be put on exteriors of buildings that you might want to try. And TransLink said, great, give us your data. How does it perform? And the Czech company said, well, we don't really know how it performs for you. And we don't have data that's comparable. So the program set up a test process where they hired a company that had the sensors and got the painting on the buildings. And they were able to run a few tests, drive some data generation in order to have clarity over how does this perform. So that's a small example of how the project is all about, let's get to some outcomes, and we'll do some things that are very bespoke to each match to see if you can understand if this is a solution fit for you. So those are examples. Now, have I missed anything in terms of, support for how we hold people's hands, how we hold people's hands through the process?
No, I think just there is that support perhaps in terms of finding funding opportunities and a couple other pieces of support that we provide after the LOI is signed. So maybe those would be worth pointing out otherwise.
That's right. That's true. So as I said, the program doesn't have dollars to say, here, I'm going to hand over this much money for you to go and do it. But if there's a need for, thanks Anouk for the feedback, if there's a need for a bit of financial support, the program has supported the participants in accessing some of that funding. So writing funding applications, talking to different bodies, finding the right programs, that kind of legwork, I would say. Yeah. Patrick, thank you for the suggestion in terms of taking a look at a program. It's we're always up for understanding how else we can help people. So that's great. So does anyone else have a question about the program? Thanks, Jack. Are you able?
Hello?
Oh,
can you hear
good.
me?
Great, you're off mute. Fantastic. Go for it.
Okay, so what we are doing, I'm a professional, used to be a professional engineer, still am, and used to do conventional consulting. So we've done a lot of things in the buildings, millions of square feet of base building and tenant improvements and you name it. Now, in the year 2000, I basically closed my consulting engineering company. And I started driving integrated building solutions. We basically link two simple validated products. One is heating and cooling systems and concrete floors. So the building drives like a rechargeable battery that not only can store energy in an asset that is paid for, concrete floors, inside of the building, so it does not require any add-on technology. And at the same time, it combines, it's a ventilation-driven system that delivers radiant heating and cooling that further enhancing the energy, the radiant comfort, and improved indoor air quality. So it's actually addressing like a kind of a positive domino fall effect that dials into carbon neutral buildings. Now,
Yep.
the concrete that we're using, it's a regular concrete, but by virtue of the fact that the way we actually using it, it actually becomes
Yeah.
carbon neutral. So
Okay.
we've done buildings in Canada over the last 15 years, have been validated best performing in a number of buildings. We've done in United States, largest net positive portfolio of buildings listed
Yep.
in the Guide to Net Zero by the Department of Energy. But here comes the interesting part. Because in the consulting engineering, and basically they ask us engineers in designing basic buildings, they don't recognize specialists like us. And in fact, we kind of resonate with you as strategic advisors on how to do more with less. And all
Mhm.
of that dials into pretty well every point that you discussed. And exceptionally well. So there is a lot more information I would be happy to share. Now, as far as UK is concerned, it's a very interesting opportunity to retrofit their existing schools because they were using lightweight concrete for the roofs that are crumbling and became unsafe in UK. And there are a number of them. So what we can do, we replace it with a smart roof kit using our technology and half-size heating and cooling systems that basically would take them to net zero very easily. If they don't like the solar component to be added in that kit, then that can actually be omitted or added in later, but it could come as a kit. And we have engineers in UK that are happy to collaborate with us. And what's interesting, I guess we need a little bit of help, from you, what you are doing to see how we can connect with the decision makers that are a little slow in making decisions.
Well, I'd love to chat more, Jack. So what I'm gonna do before we wrap up is I'm gonna be sharing a book with me link, or you can find me on LinkedIn and we can chat some more. And what you're talking about are solutions that the world needs, and if there are pieces that you're finding you're looking to evolve, and you're looking for component parts to evolve them, we'd love to see if there's some matches in the U for next iterations of your solution. So please do find me on LinkedIn, and then you can connect to the booking link that I put into the chat next as well. Thanks so much for that, Jack.
Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Does anyone else have questions about the program or about any of the solutions or the eligibility? Yeah. We wanna make the most of your time, but we also want to respect if you don't have any more questions right now, we can share the booking link with you, and we can connect one-on-one.
Additionally, I just wanted to mention that we are recording this webinar and we will be posting it online as well afterwards. So if there's something that you're curious about and you want to go back and take a look, or again, connect with either Natalie or Caroline, that's entirely possible.
Of course. All right. Okay. Well then, Nellie, maybe what we'll do is yeah, I'll remind you the hand holding we do in terms of we help you with articulating your needs, and we have great partners that help you find some options in the EU, and then we support you in meeting them, so that we'll help you ask some questions or go through the process. And then once there's an interest to dig deeper and see how to work together, we help you fill out a letter of intent in order to access more support from the program. So that's the technical assistance support. So I've put into the chat my booking link. You're also welcome to reach out on LinkedIn and we'll follow up, Nally and I both. Thank you for the opportunity, Crystal and Anouk, for working with you to share more with your network and your members. And we hope to hear from you. Every possible question, we're happy to answer. And you never know what comes out of the conversations in terms of opportunities. So feel free to reach out.
Fabulous. Thank you so much, ladies. Appreciate you taking the time this morning. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And yeah, appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you. Have a great day.